Good morning, Dubai. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Lovin Daily, where we're talking the big trending stories that everyone in Dubai is talking about. I'm here joined by Simran. Thank you so much for being back in the studio with us.
Thank you for having me and good morning. It's so nice. I never noticed you could see the sea ocean from here.
So that's like the talking point of our studio. We have the sea, we have the ocean, we have Ain Dubai, which is looking fairly packed at the
I
moment.
feel like today it's just so clear. I don't know why I never noticed that before.
It's very clear. It's a
It's
very
not an
fresh
observant
day.
person.
What was not fresh was yesterday.
I thought you were gonna say it's you.
It was not fresh. No showers in the Lovin studio. No, there's been showers. Yesterday, Instagram was down. Instagram was half down. People were worried.
Yeah. So
I didn't
11
notice this though, and I'm on it fairly regularly. So what was going on?
so 11 p.m. I noticed I was just checking to see if my crush saw my story. And it's like I couldn't see anymore the people, you can see the who's seen it and the numbers.
Your
And
viewers.
the viewers, the whole thing just disappeared. And I'm like, okay, I had to restart. I'm like, okay, maybe it's like my phone.
Mass panic.
Yeah. So I restarted, it just closed all the apps. And I was checking Instagram again. It wasn't there. Then I checked Twitter because that's where if
That's
anything
exactly what
is
you do,
down.
100%.
Yeah. You just go on Twitter and everyone is like, Instagram has their new update has removed our stories, and you can't see who's seen your stories and the number of people. I'm just like, no.
Okay.
The devastation.
I can only imagine. And then what?
And then, and then 20 minutes later, I checked again, it was back up. I'm like, oh, thank God it's not an update.
Well, I do get it because on my Instagram feed I can still see the number of likes that photos get, but when I use someone else's Instagram, I can't see the number of likes, and I like that knowledge. I like that information, so I
Yeah.
can understand why people were upset. But then within 20 minutes it was back
It was
to
back
normal.
up, yeah.
Instagram is back up and running. If you were in bed after 11 p.m., before 11 p.m. like me, you didn't have that panic, so better sleeps. As always, guys, we're going to be talking about the top stories in the UAE, why Dubai is made the bucket list on the Times, which is very cool. Also, an endurance athlete who's done an incredible feat for his birthday. But our first story, and very interesting, this morning it's been announced the Russian Sputnik vaccine will be trialed in the UAE. So, phase 3 trials for the Russian based vaccine will start in the UAE. The UAE clinical trials will be conducted by the Department of Health Abu Dhabi and supervised by the Ministry of Health UAE. So, a little bit of background, the vaccine was developed in Russia, and the trials are part of ongoing trials worldwide. So, not just here in the UAE, they're also happening in India and other places around the world. Now, results from the first 2 trials showed a stable response in 100% of volunteers, no adverse side effects, and the trials will take 90 days. Registration for volunteers will be announced shortly, and the results will be with us at the end of November. So that's a quick rundown of what's going on. But Sputnik happening here in the UAE, very interesting.
Very interesting. And the people, I feel people who go for these trial vaccinations, they're so brave because, honestly, anything can happen.
100% bravery. The original trials happening here in the UAE, I think they were inundated with people who wanted to take part. But then there was also kind of, I think, the benefits of, you didn't have to go through border checks at Abu Dhabi. You could zip right through.
Yeah.
But it was for humanity. So I think it was kind of, if they proves to be a vaccine that kind of gets to market, you've been part of something historic and legendary. And this is another, because we were talking a little bit before about why Sputnik would come to the UAE and why the UAE is actually a very interesting place for trials, because obviously you have top class healthcare. Laboratories in the UAE or in Abu Dhabi are some of the best in the world for trials and clinical tests like this. And also, the basics is that there's people from all over the world here. So if you want to test something and get a very varied test result, UAE is a really good place to do it.
Diverse, yeah.
Very diverse place to do it.
And yeah, but it's funny how you said they're testing out their phase 3. Russia's testing out their phase 3 in Dubai, when in the UAE, when they said they're already in their phase 3 months ago.
Well,
not phase 3. They said they were about to release the vaccine months ago.
So this is it. There was a lot of hype about this vaccine. Sputnik, Russia said we did it. They're very happy with their phase 2 trials, but now we realize there's already phase 3 trials for other vaccines ongoing here. There's numerous ones going on all over the world. Different pharmaceutical companies, huge investment happening by governments to make this happen. But this one, so we have a rundown of what phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 means. Because actually, when you get to phase 3, that's actually large scale testing. So they've already done vaccine testing, safety and dosage, so they know how much to give and all that type of thing.
Okay.
They've done expanded safety trials. So when you get to large mass testing, a lot has gone on behind the scenes to get there.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. And the fact that it'll be 90 days, the results kind of at the end of November, that's early. soon.
Yeah,
So
I
hopefully
mean,
good news
we've
will
been
come out of that.
going through this pandemic for a whole year now. So if it's not there by December, it's like, oh God, what are we doing? We're in 2020 and we can't get a vaccine out in a year. But like,
So says the two girls sipping coffee in the morning.
I was just gonna say, and we're like sitting here, like, come on, guys, give us the vaccine.
I'm just praying. Yeah.
Praying. But okay, so our next story, this fun Dubai attraction made it to the Times 2021 bucket list. Now, the Times is a UK newspaper, and they featured this really fun attraction in the 2021 bucket list, which is made for next year when the pandemic is well behind us and no more masks. No more social distancing, no more cooties and all that stuff. So this attraction that got featured is the Caesars Palace, which is located in Blue Waters, Dubai, right under the world's tallest Ferris wheel, the Dubai Eye. And once I drove past it, the Caesars Palace, by accident because I lost the way, which frequently happens with me. And it was like so grand. It's like I was driving past. You kind of see this only in movies. It was just so grand. I'm like, no, we are not in Dubai anymore. Have you seen it, the Caesars Palace?
Are we talking about? I thought we were talking about the Ain Dubai made the bucket list, but it's Caesar's Palace has made it.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't clear. The Caesars Palace in Blue Waters, Dubai made the bucket list.
So I've seen the front of it, and I feel like it feels. I've never been inside, but I feel like it looks very LA. But that whole Blue Waters, it feels like a kind of boulevard should be on in the States.
Yeah, and it's
very
there
modern.
in Las Vegas, Caesars Palace. I feel like they've taken that, they've just like cranked it up 100 and they put it here. It's just gonna be like, oh my God, I didn't see it when it was open, but when it was like under construction. But that itself was so grand, so I can't imagine this right now. Like from the pictures itself, I think you guys can see it beside us. It just looks so cool.
Well, so these would be residential as well in the Caesars Palaces.
Yeah.
And they also have a fab beach if anyone wants to check that out. But so incredible as always. I love when Dubai gets recognised on world lists. So
yes.
Thank you the Times for that shout out. We'll move on to a UAE endurance athlete completed 71 kilometers on his birthday for a brilliant cause. We've talked about Ultraman Romeo before. He's a frontline health worker in the UAE, and he's done numerous kind of endurance feats, I would say, like this. And then for his birthday, he was turning 34. Now, I mentioned he's a frontline worker, so he actually does a lot of night shifts. So he did a night shift, woke up the next day, completed 34 kilometers swimming, 34 kilometers cycling, 34 kilometers running, and 3.4 kilometers swimming. And then he actually kind of raised donations and gave them to a charity close to his cause.
Oh my God.
So that's amazing.
That's amazing. So inspiring.
So inspiring. I just think it's amazing for anyone on his birthday. Not only did he do those accomplishments, but then he also kind of made sure to raise donations. So he raises helmets and bikes to send back to a charity that he actually runs in the Philippines, which is very cool.
That's really so touching.
That's really so
Makes
touching.
you question your own, life. Like, what am I doing?
Does it question what you do on your birthday? As in, because let's say
it
was my birthday. It's like, did I do a massive fitness challenge and then put the proceeds to charity? No, I made the day all about myself. And
the best of us.
It's interesting because I remember there was a good story during COVID of a woman who, for her birthday, and she shared the story with us that she had made face masks and given them to workers. So touching. And it's so good that, like an awful person.
And then there's us.
And there's us.
Guys, make sure you get me a birthday cake in the office. No, like that's just what a lot of us do. No,
it's coming up, isn't it?
I was kind of imitating Chai and he's watching.
Yeah. But when is your birthday?
In December.
Alibaba, when is your birthday?
July 15th.
Okay, so Simran, we'll make a plan for yours. Lots of cake in the office. Guys, those are top stories, but did I mention at the start of the show? Today, we have a very interesting look at what goes on UFC Fight Island. I caught up with Saeed Al Saeed, who's the Destination Marketing Director for DCT. He's going to tell us all about the incredible Fight Island in the run-up to the huge October 24th fight with Khabib.
Exciting.
So stay tuned for that. Simran, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We'll be back in 2 minutes on Facebook. Stay tuned. today on the show, we are joined by Saeed Al Saeed, who is the Destination Marketing Director for the Department of Tourism Culture. Welcome to the Lovin Daily. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for your time.
Not at all. So we're talking about Fight Island. Can you give our viewers some kind of an idea of the extraordinary lengths that has happened to get Fight Island 2.0 happening?
Yeah, I mean, after the overwhelming success, I would say, of Fight Island 1, it made sense for us to host the UFC again here in Abu Dhabi. The location we chose was based on many factors, but we needed a place that would provide the best levels of hospitality and facilities, but also allow us to create the safe zone, the COVID-free bubble without a huge impact on the residents of Abu Dhabi themselves as well. So Yas Island lent itself to be the perfect location. We have the venue to host the fights, but also world-class hospitality just around the corner, and some facilities like entertainment and a nice beach to boot as well. So we created Fight Island 1, and it just was a natural progression to have returned Fight Island in the same location with the same and even better measures, whether it's precautionary measures, but also, everyone was so happy with the food, for example, with the people that took care of everybody, that we decided this was going to be the place to host it again.
Cool. Like you mentioned nice beaches, you mentioned nice hotels. No one is complaining spending 2 weeks in Abu Dhabi, that is for sure. But you also mentioned kind of the safe zone and the bubble, and these are the buzzwords that are going around with Yas Island. If I'm a fighter wanting to go onto Fight Island, what is the procedure to get me there?
As a fighter, you would obviously have to have the UFC contact you and contract for a fight.
So it's a long time.
Okay. But once that happens, they will tell you the steps you need to take. We've agreed with the Department of Health and other authorities here in Abu Dhabi on what are the steps taken to get people into the into the safe zone safely. And basically, you will have to do some level of quarantining pre-departure, get a test. Once the test is negative, you get on your flight, you land in Abu Dhabi, get escorted by police in your vehicle to come to the Fight Island safe zone, go straight to your room as soon as you get in, get another test, quarantine for another 24 hours, get another test, and then another 24 hours, so a total of 48 hours here in Abu Dhabi. Once you have those 3 negative results, you're able to move around the safe zone. That's for fighters. For local staff and delegations, we've had to quarantine for 2 weeks in self-isolation before anyone even arrived from abroad. So it's for the local staff, about 2,000 of us, it's about 7 weeks in total for return to Fight Island, and it was 6 weeks in total for Fight Island 1.
Wow, truly incredible what you've kind of pulled off, and a second time in a row, which is fantastic. But of course, October 24th, Khabib is coming. People are so excited. The world is watching. What's the buzz around his arrival, and what's the buzz around Fight Island when, of course, you don't have that live spectators like you would have before?
Yes, we don't have the live spectators, but that element wouldn't have shown as of yet. We're still technically 2 weeks out from the fight. But what we do feel around is the anticipation of something great that we know is coming. It's the element of being on ground, being part of the delivery of such a huge event, makes it difficult for you to look at what's coming in 2 days' time, because you have to deal with what's happening right now. We've just had a fight night that was incredibly intense. It was such a good layer and a level of sportsmanship, and they delivered. I mean, the fighters themselves delivered last fight night. And what I have to look forward to is next weekend, where there's another fight night with some huge names on it as well. So being part of the project is not, you don't have the luxury of just, chilling back and waiting and talking about what's happened next. You're too busy with what's coming in the next few days. But for Khabib specifically, you see it on social media. Everybody's talking about the media, the fans. Everybody's looking forward to it. Whether you're a Khabib fan or a Gaethje fan, this is going to be a huge fight. Whether you're just a neutral as well, it's a huge fight. If you look at the history of both these fighters, for us, it's a pleasure to always host Khabib, knowing how popular he is in the region, and the Russian fans tune in, and we want to send that message about Abu Dhabi there as well. But I think both fighters bring a lot to the table, and it's going to be an exciting fight regardless.
100%, and of course it's going to be pretty emotional for Khabib as it's his first fight since his dad died. So it's there's kind of a lot of, like you said, history there. But talking about Abu Dhabi, and you mentioned kind of bringing, putting it on the map for Russian tourists maybe. My question is, when you have fighters dropping into Abu Dhabi, talking about it on social media, do you see a direct link to that and interest in tourism? And is that kind of a direct link?
Yeah, if I have a product that I'm trying to sell, as an example, if a soda, and I come to you and tell you this soda is amazing, you'd be like, yeah, I'm sure you would say it's amazing. But if a friend of yours, if someone you follow on social media, if a celebrity you're a fan of, knowing that they're not being endorsed by this product, tells you, or you just see them enjoying this product, or you tell them, they tell you this product is amazing, the soda tastes so good, you're more than likely to believe them than believe me, the owner of said product. So for us, creating these brand ambassadors, implicitly, just by having people in Abu Dhabi talking about Abu Dhabi, saying how much fun they're having, enjoying the levels of service, which has been the case with the UFC fighters and the UFC crew themselves. Everyone's been loving Abu Dhabi. Everyone has been talking so highly of Abu Dhabi. Some of the UFC team last time around in Fight Island were telling me that there's something special about this place. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's my home. They're like, no, seriously. We usually deal with divas in the UFC, with some fighters, always complaining and having very demanding, rigorous, whatever it may be when it comes to hospitality. They always stress test them. And they're like, we're still waiting for someone to complain about anything. Mm-hmm. So for me, that is another testament of Abu Dhabi's level of world-class service and hospitality, and the lengths that we are willing to go to make sure that our guests and visitors are as happy as possible.
Amazing. And finally, just to ask you about, we mentioned live spectators before, is there a likelihood of, people within Abu Dhabi being able to see the fight on the 24th, or talk to us about UFC 3.0? Is that coming shortly?
So I'll answer your second question first. Mm-hmm. We have penned a contract with the UFC for 5 years, starting with UFC 242 last year, UFC 254 coming up as part of that deal. The Fight Island IP, I would say, is outside of that contract, and it is due to extraordinary circumstances that this came about to begin with. It's, the pandemic is affecting sport globally. The UFC needed a place that could deliver what Abu Dhabi is able to deliver, and it just made sense for them to come here. Could there be another Fight Island? Maybe, it's possible. Would I like to see another Fight Island in the current state that it is? No, because I'm optimistic and hopeful that COVID-19 wouldn't be an issue as in the next 2 to 3, 4 months. Let's, call me a dreamer. Could there be you too. Could there be another event with the UFC? Yes, possible. Do I want it to be a bubble where I don't get to see my kids for 6 weeks at a time, or people from, put in sacrifices from the team to be away from their loved ones as well? I'd rather not. Not only that, from a personal perspective, for me and the team involved, but also for the fighters and the guests. They're only able to experience the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what Abu Dhabi truly has to offer. And a lot of them come in, yes, they're happy, they're excited about being here, but are disappointed they're not able to see the Louvre Abu Dhabi, for example. They're disappointed they can't get on the fastest roller coaster in the world, in Ferrari World. They're disappointed they're not able to really experience and truly immerse themselves in what Abu Dhabi has to offer. So to answer your question, for the time being, no, and hopefully we wouldn't need to create another a bubble or a zone. But yeah, I would be more than happy to have more UFC events coming through in the next year. We know we have one already that will be around the same time that UFC 254 is happening, but why not have more?
100%.
Now, to answer your first question, uh, you know what? At the end of the day, sports is about fans. We see it now with European football coming back. Since the lockdown earlier in the year, and it's just not the same. Even if you look at home away advantages are completely gone. You have games, people are just scoring for fun, 5, 6 goals,
Yeah.
7 goals, and there isn't that level of intensity that you see when fans are there. The difference between me experiencing UFC 242 when Khabib won his fight in October of last year, and all of the events that have happened since July is more than palpable. It's not the same. And we would love nothing more than to have fans be able to attend UFC 254. And that's why we're doing our level best to come up with a plan where it is possible, where we can actually do this. But health and safety, health and safety, health and safety. I cannot stress enough that this has been our priority since day one following our government's leadership when it comes to COVID. We're taking it seriously. We've had positive cases when they've arrived in their room while they're quarantining. And we immediately went back to CCTV footage, called Etihad Airways, called the airports, saw every single step this person took throughout their journey coming into Abu Dhabi, and retraced everyone he interacted with, and everyone was removed. So not only was he removed because he tested positive, but the 4 people that were on the same flight that came with him, the driver of him and his friend, and the other driver of the people that were with them, and the driver's roommates. So because of one case that was positive, and even though, like, he told us his history, he had it before, and he keeps testing positive. So technically, he wasn't a risk. Doesn't matter. Zero risk policy. He's out. The 4 people are out. The 2 drivers and the 2 drivers' roommates all out. So because of one positive case, 9 individuals, 8 of them negative, had to be removed from the safe zone. So for us, there's that zero tolerance, zero risk, no compromising of the bubble policy, and that's how we do things in Abu Dhabi. There's zero compromise.
Amazing. I think that description there just shows kind of the incredible, extraordinary attention to detail, but also, as you mentioned, the incredible sacrifice made on the 2,000 people who were on Yas Island, in Fight Island, all the fighters. It goes without saying, thank you to Abu Dhabi for pulling this off, something so extraordinary. I have Ali Baba here in the studio, who is a massive UFC fan, and he is so excited. He's been talking about it the whole time. So from him and from Lovin Dubai, thank you to Abu Dhabi for pulling it off, and thank you for your time and taking us through all of that story. Amazing.
It's our pleasure. And like I said, hopefully the plan comes through, and hopefully Ali is able to, if he has some cash burn, hole in his pocket, he's able to attend. But no promises yet.
No promises. I mean, yeah, hopefully soon enough. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and have a good day. I hope your figure gets better.